This 2019-2020 school year marks 5 years since Eisenhower reopened as a K-12 school. And in honor of that, we're going to celebrate the past and present of Eisenhower and the northern attendance area in this video. Going all the way back to 1799, the first ever schoolhouse in Warren County was built by Quakers at the Corn Planter Grant. The first school in the northern attendance area was taught by John Marsh in his Farmington house. In 1805, John Marsh and his brother Hugh built a schoolhouse known as the Marshtown Schoolhouse. It was located where Lander Russell and Fairbanks Road intersect, right across from where Eisenhower is currently located. There is also an elementary school in Pine Grove Township around this time. It was located in a private village and taught by Stephen Roger. Over the years, several schoolhouses were built in this attendance area, and students usually carried their lunch in lard buckets that they brought from home. Extracurricular activities were usually held in the evening, and the most popular of them was spelling bees. Teachers from different schools in the district would get the best spellers from each school together to compete. Eventually, some new high schools opened in the area, two of which were located in Russell and Lander. The Russell High School taught grades 6 through 12, while the Lander High School taught grades 1 through 12. There is also a school in Chandler Valley, which taught elementary grades only. A high school also opened in Sugar Grove during this time frame, known as the Sugar Grove Farmington Joint High School. When the Russell and Lander High Schools closed in 1948, you either went to the Sugar Grove Farmington High School or the Warren High School. The Sugar Grove Farmington High School name was changed to the Northern Area Joint High School in 1953. That would be some of the final years of that school, which were much needed because that building was over 70 years old. It was first built in 1883 as a seminary, which is just a fancy word for a school that teaches people to be religious leaders. During its final years as the Joint High School, the entire third floor of the building was condemned, and its business and home ec departments were moved into a house across the street. The last class to graduate from there was the class of 1956, because in the following school year a new high school opened near the site of the Marshtown Schoolhouse. As you probably guessed, that school is now Eisenhower, but how did it get its name? On January 23, 1953, President Dwight D. Eisenhower was inaugurated, and a group of people from the northern area of Warren County came up with the idea to name a school after the general turned president. It would be the first General Dwight D. Eisenhower High School here in the U.S. that would be built after his inauguration. In 1954, northern area students voted on the night mascot and school identity when the area high school was still in Sugar Grove. That same year, the school yearbook was changed from the torch to the lance, and the school colors were changed from green and white to blue and gold. Eisenhower's location on Route 957 was picked because it was in the center of the district during this era, and construction began on January 6, 1955. Original construction ideas for the school included a pool in the courtyard, which never did happen. Eisenhower opened at the beginning of the 1956-1957 school year, September 14, 1956, meaning the class of 57 would be the first class to ever graduate from here. The dedication for the new school took place on the evening of April 9, 1957, in the auditorium, and even included a telegraph sent in by Dwight D. Eisenhower, who was in fact the president that year. This telegraph read, "The honor you give me in the naming of this school becomes a part of the high honor I enjoy in promoting the goals of education across the width and breadth of this land." The Warren County School District was formed in 1966, and although there was some objection at first, Eisenhower did become a part of it, and of course it still is today. And now presenting some pictures of what Eisenhower looked like right after it was built, inside and out. As you can see, Eisenhower looked pretty nice here, but as the attendance went up, it needed more space for all the students. So, in 1965, a decision was made to add on to the school. Construction began in July 1967, and it was completed early in 1969. Perhaps it would have got done quicker, but construction came to a standstill in September of 1968 when the workers went on strike because of a union problem. When it was all said and done, in addition to more classrooms, the library and lunchroom got expanded. It was said that the school's capacity would double as a result of this. A sewage treatment facility was also added. An open house to show off the new school was held on Sunday, March 23, 1969 at 4 p.m. One unique thing about Eisenhower is the Eco Lab, a wooded area on Fairbanks Avenue across from the school. It was established in 1970 and is used to help science students learn about things in nature, and it's also used for cross-country practice. Anyway, I got some pictures and videos of what the school looked like as a result of this new addition.
Of all the assemblies I've done thus far in Pennsylvania, you by far were my favorite.
Scene 1 and we'll take 1. Scene 1 and we'll take 1. Scene 1 and we'll take 2. Scene 1 and we'll take 2.
Eisenhower, this is your morning announcements on WIKE. Please stand for a moment of silence and the pledge.
That's all for your morning's announcements.
Have a great day.
up until the 2010s, but we'll talk about that a little later on. Eisenhower taught grades 7 through 12, and in one case 6 through 12. And now we're going to talk about the area elementary schools. First up is the Lander Elementary School, located on Miller Hill Road. It is on the same property as the Lander High School that we discussed earlier in this video. The former high school had been operating as an elementary school for a while, but construction began in the same area in the early 60s for a brand new building. The new elementary school opened at the beginning of the 1963-1964 school year and had its own sports team known as the Lander Chargers. As the years went by, enrollment in this particular school went down, and interestingly enough, they didn't even have a first grade class for the 2001-2002 school year. They closed for good at the end of the 2003-2004 school year, but not without some local protesters. The school board ended up voting to close it anyway. Here's what the school looked like before it closed. Today, the Lander Elementary School building is being used as a homeless shelter and Veterans Outreach Center known as Liberty's Way.
My name's Freeman Mayberry. I'm the founder here at Liberty's Way Church of Christ. We're a homeless shelter dedicated to our homeless vets and their families. We bring in things, we supply things, we have rooms here, we have workshops. Vets get to come play here. Anyone in trouble, they come see us and we do what we can to help them. That's what the school's turning into now. Liberty Way is like our statue. It pretty much tells it.
next is the Sugar Grove Elementary School. After Eisenhower opened, the northern area joined high school and Sugar Grove was used to teach elementary school. But it was eventually demolished to make way for the new Sugar Grove Elementary School, which opened in 1962. It taught grades K through 6, and students from Lottsville, Sugar Grove, and Bear Lake attended school here. It had its own athletics team known as the Sugar Grove Saints, which would come to an end in the mid-2000s. But there were other options in the county for elementary students to get involved in sports, like Kinzu soccer, Warren County youth football, YMCA activities, among other things. The school remained open right up until 2014, when it was replaced by a new elementary school, which we'll discuss later on in this video. The Warren County School District still owns this building, and local kids still enjoy playing on the playground. Now here's a short montage of the Sugar Grove Elementary School in its glory days. Number 3 on our list of elementary schools is the Russell Elementary School. And just like the other two, it was built near the site of the area's former high school. Construction began on December 4th, 1962, and the students moved into the newly constructed building in January of 1964. During the early years of this elementary school, the 5th grade students would look forward to an annual field trip to Pittsburgh that would take place close to the end of the school year. To get money for it, they'd spend the year fundraising by doing things like sponsoring skate parties and selling different stuff. In 1969, the PTA was able to add a playground to the school. In the 1990s, Russell took part in an annual project known as the Selborne Project, in which they got to explore nature and local businesses. They were even featured on local TV for it in 1998.
With a classroom close-up from Russell School in Warren County, where students are getting back to basics by getting back to our everyday environment.
The Selborne Project is a project that we use that we have all the classroom skills brought into the community.
I've learned about the town hall right over there and what they do for the community of Russell. It's been very interesting because I've learned about different businesses and different points of interest around our town.
I found that Russell is not as small, that it has more businesses than I ever thought it did.
Selborne means having class outside and getting to know your community.
This classroom close-up back to basics is just one more example of how public education is working in Pennsylvania.
Much like Eisenhower, they wanted to renovate and expand this school. Before we talk about the renovation, here's some clips of what Russell Elementary School first looked like. came in, and it began the same year, with the ground being broken that summer. Throughout the renovation, students were moved outside the trailers because some of their classrooms were being worked on. The new school was completed by the beginning of the 2004-2005 year, and students were excited to have toilets that automatically flushed, as well as a separate gym, cafeteria, and art room. A dedication for the new school took place on September 13, 2004, and the PTA added a new playground in October of 2005. Now let's take a look at the new school. These two water fountains were located across from the gym and cafeteria. Nobody ever really knew what the blue and red stickers above them actually meant, but the rumor was that one fountain was cold and the other was hot. Russell would also close at the end of the 2014 school year, but in this last year, students enjoyed activities such as the grandparent luncheons, book fairs, and ice cream socials. On April 4th, 2014, the last ever ice cream social and book fair took place at a 50th anniversary celebration, where former staff members visited, and a time capsule buried 25 years earlier, 1989, was opened.
These are the teachers and the staff that were here 25 years ago and were involved with burying the capsule. Let's give them a nice round of applause.
Well, 25 years ago on a beautiful sunny day, we took the time capsule, and there's a picture here of Ed and I'm holding it, and Ed's getting ready to bury it out by the corner of the building. Then when we decided to do a new innovation to our school, they had to dig the time capsule up, and of course it sat on a shelf for 10 years.
You can't hear.
But there's a whirly nod. It was the program, which is also in the library, but there's a program there. Book of the original 1964 dedication of the school, which is in here. Dear 50th Reunion Committee members, our 25th Reunion Committee enjoyed working on this project. We started working on it in February. If you have any questions about organizing the 50th and would like some help, just give one of us a call. I'm sure we will gladly help you with the preparations. Sincerely, Sue Yovich, second grade teacher. Member of the committee were Shirley Rutsky, Debbie McLaughlin, Kathy Fithian, Doris Trumbull, Becky Wade, and Nancy Sampson. There's a good old times observer in here also. This says, exercise your right to vote, May 16, 1989. This says that the capsule was fabricated by A&D Heating and Sheet Metal.
Its closure wasn't the end of the building though, as the school district office moved in there and still is there today. It was also used as a learning enrichment center for a couple years. Although the building has changed inside, the playground is still there and continues to be popular with the community. Getting back to Eisenhower, they taught grades 7 through 12 up until the 2012 to 2013 school year, when the 6th graders that would have went to Sugar Grove and Russell Elementary schools were moved there. That same year, it was decided to not only begin renovating Eisenhower, but to also add an elementary school onto it. The idea being for all the area elementary students to eventually go there because attendance had been going down at Russell and Sugar Grove. So that year, the elementary schools were only teaching grades K through 5, but next year the 6th graders were kept at the elementary schools because of the renovations taking place in the high school. Classes were moved all over the place while things were being demolished, including the auditorium, backstage, and in trailers outside. 2014 school year ended, so did Russell and Sugar Grove Elementary. The new Eisenhower Elementary was ready for use as the 2014-2015 school year began, and renovations in the high school will wrap up as that year went on. We're going to finish this video off with a walkthrough of the new Eisenhower campus.